Royal Canin's new fresh food has vets and nutritionists pissed. And really my biggest red flag about this food is the cost, but for a very specific reason. Disclaimer, I'm on a ticking time bomb with filming this video because there's currently 5 dogs in this room with me, one of which is a very needy, high energy puppy. This is Aura, and this only lasts so long, so we gotta get into this. Vets, nutritionists, and even pet parents all over the internet are outraged by this new food. And the reason being is Royal Canin is a legacy vet or prescription pet food brand heavily tied to overly highly processed foods that are very low in meat or protein and very high in carbohydrates and very high in synthetics, which generally speaking is pretty far-fetched from the fresh food market or gently cooked or even raw food market. But now that they've entered the fresh food category, it's really making people feel like they're going for a corporate cash grab. Because when we look at the fresh food market as a whole in pet food, the focus is biologically appropriate foods and recipes. What does that mean? It just means foods or recipes that are formulated to meet the, we'll call it, natural needs of our dogs, which science tells us, veterinarians tell us that dogs are wonderful, but they're scavenging or she's probably her saying to give her space, but the dogs are scavenging and facultative carnivores. So yes, whole food sources of nutrient-dense carbs with fiber are amazing for dogs, but they need a good amount of protein from animal or meat sources. So when I look at the ingredients of this, which we're going to jump to in a second, it raises some red flags. So no surprise here, just like many of their kibbles, the first ingredient is rice. What does that mean per pet food regulations? It means that rice is the heaviest ingredient in the entire formula or recipe. And I'm going to show you in a second why this is such a concern and red flag for me. You do have some squash, you do have some pork, so that is good. And then you have a laundry list of synthetics. I counted over 20. So my next question is, okay, how much actual pork is in there? What is the protein percent? So we go to the guaranteed analysis. You see how I'm showing you exactly what I'm looking at? I'm trying to teach you how I look, assess, and review dog foods. And of course you can't do it just looking at the ingredients, but this is a very good start that anybody can do. If we look at the protein percent, again, another red flag, it is only 6.5%. This is one of the, if not the lowest protein percent in the gently cooked fresh food market that I have ever seen. Let's make this super simple and look at Royal Canin's new fresh food compared to another similar fresh food on the market. We'll look at Just Food for Dogs. Reason being, Just Food for Dogs is also sold on Chewy. It's also largely funded backed, and it also has vets on staff just like Royal Canin. They've run food trials, they do pet food research, so they run business similarly. But when we look at the two, we compare just the basics, it is mind-boggling. So just looking at the protein difference, Just Food for Dogs is gonna have about 100% more protein than Royal Canin's fresh food, but Royal Canin is gonna be $50 for a small case of their food. So that means it is double the cost or twice the cost as Just Food for Dogs food, but Just Food for Dogs is human grade, made with human grade ingredients, unlike Royal Canin, which is feed grade. Just Food for Dogs also has more whole food ingredients, less synthetics, more protein than we talked about for less money. With Royal Canin's new food isn't just the recipe and the formula and the lack of protein and whole food ingredients. It is that this is so expensive for what it is. I am just mind-boggled and almost offended for pet parents like you and I. And if we compare this to arguably and personally, probably my favorite gently cooked food in the market, top 2, top 3, Raised Right, which is formulated by a veterinarian. Look at the difference in the protein percent and the ingredients. With Raised Right, you're gonna have responsibly sourced, human grade ingredients. You don't see a laundry list of synthetics in here because they are getting the micronutrient, macronutrients, vitamins, minerals from real whole food sources. Yes, all of my favorite dog foods that I personally would feed my own dogs are on my dog food list at my website, rachelfusaro.com. It is completely free. And remember, everything I share is my personal opinion based on what I would or would not feed my dogs and based on what I learned from veterinarians, nutritionists, and scientists in the field, all of which I share publicly for free for you on my Vet Chat and Expert Talk series. So the question begs, is this a food that I would feed my dogs? I think it's pretty obvious that no, I would not feed my pets a Royal Canin product, not even in the fresh food variety. But here's the caveat. I'm not mad about them entering the fresh food category like so many people are on the internet. And no hate to either side. I have empathy. Here's the difference for me though. I have been preaching the benefits and the power of feeding our dogs either as a complete whole diet or as a topper on kibble fresh foods for years. This has been something I've been extremely passionate about based on what I learned from vets, scientists, experts in the field. And to me, a huge conglomerate corporation like Royal Canin entering the market with a fresh food option only validates what I have been preaching and what this community believes in. By the way, if you're not already subscribed and following to be part of this community of putting our dogs first, then make sure you do that. But to me, this tells me that we are making a wave. We are making an impact in what we're doing. And that's why I create the content that I make, is because I am your voice. You see, the consumer, the pet parent, you and I, we will always win. These big brands, whether they're small, up and coming, or huge, one of the top 5 conglomerate corporations of the world, they will be forced to produce the products that we demand as long as we are continuing to push and demand it. You may think that we're not making a dent, but my friends, look around you. We are. Looks like Blue Buffalo is getting ready to launch a fresh food as well. And that's because they hear us. They know that's what we want. Obviously, they believe it's beneficial. They have vets on their staff that now say so. Okay, quick time check. Okay, we are still making good progress. She's still working on her enrichment toy. If you want to see my favorite enrichment toys, puzzle toys, you can go to my website, rachelfusaro.com. But really, I feel like the big misstep here is they had an opportunity to make a more accessible or affordable fresh food option for somebody who's already bought into the Royal Canin or Royal Canin brand. But the way that I look at it now, it's an overpriced bag of glorified rice, processed rice and oils and synthetics with just a little bit of meat. And to me, I just can't get behind that. So if you want to learn about the foods that I do feed my dogs, click the video right here. And if you want to learn my favorite kibble toppers, click the video right here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.